All right, we're going to discuss some of the Siemens Mark 21 identification labeling that you can find on some of these buckets. What you see here is 3 different vintages of doors. This one may be a little tougher to see, but what you notice is you've got 2 completely different handles, though both of them at the time of production were labeled Mark 21. This one, what we would call, is more a Mark 21 version 2, which was a little bit earlier. That typically was from about 72 to 75. Then they had a crossover period where they called it just Mark 21, and that went on for about 15 years. And during that product timeline, they then introduced Model 90. So there's some crossover between the 3. All of them are interchangeable except for sort of 2 instances. One of them very rare, one of them could be a little more common. So we're going to sort of look at both of those today. So first off, the Mark 21 version 2, the earliest of the 3. Came with a Westinghouse breaker, Westinghouse handle. The frame was typically a gold zinc diachromate plating. The stab insulator is going to be a red phenolic, which we'll pull that out and take a look at that in a few moments. A little bit later version, which we commonly call Mark 21 Model 90, would have used a different quarter turn, as you can see, a little bit different, more of a longer style latch today, 1 piece, would use a Siemens style operator with a Siemens style breaker. Frame mechanically is very much the same, but you'll see it's painted in a 2-tone color pattern. Sometimes they came all this sort of just plating here, but they traditionally were a little bit different. They weren't all gold, a little bit later version. And the real main difference is the stab on this one. Again, they both bite onto the same bus, so that they do interchange, but there is one instance where it can be a problem. So we're going to go ahead and demonstrate that. As you can see, both buckets pull out the same. They've got some sliding tabs on both ends here that basically allow it to engage, and the stab fingers with a black insulator. But one thing you do want to note, which we're gonna outline, is where that stab insulator is located on the bucket frame. It's located towards the top of the frame. A little earlier version, Mark 21 version 2. Again, pulls out the same way, but a different type of stab insulator. You can see it's mounted towards the middle bottom of the half of the bucket. It's a red fiber insulator. Fingers do look different, but the measurements are designed to be the same and grab onto the same bus, so that's not really the issue. So, as you can see, so I'll make this a little bit more clear. The stab location is really the ultimate deciding factor to determine if these are interchangeable. And normally, in spaces from the bottom going up is not an issue. Where you run the issue is at this very top compartment. Okay, and why that is probably pretty visible at the moment, but what you notice is in that top compartment is there is no hole at the very, very top. Whereas when you look into these compartments that we were using, there is an excess spot there at the top. Same thing on this compartment. What happened is, when they were producing these red style stabs, there was no spot ever that they would have had to plug in up at this point. So what they did was they didn't continue the bus bar all the way up. So the real issue is using this black stab style later version in the very top compartment. I can show you a later version cell that they had gone ahead and redesigned that and brought the bus all the way up to make them all interchangeable. But on these very early versions, that can be an issue. So as you can see, and I'll demonstrate it, we'll try to plug both buckets in. a second while I readjust. So you can see what we're talking about there. Where you can see that has no access spot. So obviously there's no way that this style bucket can plug in at the very top compartment. So to catch this, there's two hooks, one in the front, one in the back, and we're just catching on the little divider pan here. It's going to hang. This starts to go in. Your tabs now are preventing me from going in. We're pushing in and slamming home. And both tabs should release like that, so now you know you're home. The bottom is all the way in, so this unit is installed. So right now I have resistance clearly, so that would tell me this cannot go in.